going on, everybody? It's Aurora coming at you with a brand new video, and I was chilling. It was like 10:17 p.m. Sorry if you can hear my microphone moving now. I'm kind of trying to shift it a little bit closer to my face. It's like 10:17 p.m. I'm playing some Overwatch 2. I am kicking ass. I'm playing like Sojourn. We are like absolutely hammering this poor team from getting this payload moving. And then suddenly I get tagged on Twitter and someone's like, hey, Aurora, your stuff's here. And I look to check the tweet, and I forgot it was 10 o'clock, and usually Yu-Gi-Oh! Japan tweets their stuff at 10 o'clock. It's like a scheduled tweet thing. And the Traptrix stuff is finally here, guys! If you didn't know, if you couldn't tell, obviously, from, the profile picture of the channel, I really like Traptrix. Hat was the very first deck that I took to locals, and, that doesn't sound too bad until you realize that it was 2018 and everyone was on Orbital BA. But I actually managed to get top 4. I only lost to Chris in his Odd Eye stuff. But I literally took Hat, and then I, played Artifact Traptrix. I played, a few different builds of Traptrix. I eventually had to sell them because I was trying to build Dragon Link, which was, the worst mistake of my life. I literally only used them for, 2 weeks. I got my ass handed to me. But ever since they announced the Structure Deck support coming out, or the Structure Deck period, I've been so excited. I've been waiting for months for them to reveal this stuff, and there's only 4 cards here. I know we're getting a new Xyz, a new Link, a new Trap Hole, and a new main deck monster. I believe there should be more. I don't think you only get 4 cards in a Structure Deck, not to mention that it also mentioned something about Photon Hypernova. It said use cards from Photon Hypernova to power up your Traptrix deck, something like that, but I don't know. Before we get into this, let me just, say some things that I've been looking for the Traptrix strategy. I don't usually do this, but I really like this archetype. So I'm looking for some protection. I would hope that the archetype finally gets some of its own in-archetype protection other than Heavenly Prison being searchable, because it's not like Eldritch where you can just banish them from grave if they get removed by Harpies. It's not like Labyrinth where you can recover using your monsters and such and your field spell. Traptrix has always been one of the most fragile trap decks ever, and, of course in Master Duel, all my opponents end up having Lightning Storm or Harpies anyway. I'm also looking for a little bit of an easier way to output some damage, because, yeah, you can play Utopia the Lightning, or if you're really saucy, you can play Utopia double, but I feel like the archetype deserves a little bit more, damage dealing in itself, because Rafflesia is just a big ass, Sarah is tiny, Utricula, Cularia, whatever its name was, the Link 2, I think it's Cularia. She's also tiny. Alomaris is okay. I know the new Xyz is 2500 by 300. I gotta love that they're sticking with the 2800 gag still. So I can only hope. I also like a little bit better recovery because some of the recovery is limited to their bad trap holes. And speaking of which, I would like for the new trap hole to be sort of in the direction that Gravediggers went, where Gravediggers is less of an actual trap hole card where it's a monster touches the hole and then it falls in or whatever, and it's more of just a responsive trap in general. I hope the new trap hole is like that, but we're just gonna have to see. Sorry for ranting so much. I'm just super excited. But let's go ahead and get right into this. So it's the return of the Traptrix for the winter line. It's time for the winter lingerie show where you get to be eaten alive. So, it also comes with a pack for the OCG and stuff, but we don't get that here. But let's go ahead and get right into this. We have Traptrix Pinguicula, the new Xyz monster. She's a rank 4 Earth Plant Xyz with 2500 attack and 300 defense. She requires 2 level 4 monsters and says you can only use the second and third effects of this card's name each once per turn. This card with material is unaffected by trap effects and by activated effects from any other monster with the same type as any of those materials. Ooh. You can attach a material from this card and add a Traptrix monster from your deck to your hand. If a monster that is owned by your opponent is sent to the graveyard or banished by card effect, you can attach one of them to this card as material. Ooh, okay. So this is a bit different from the typical Traptrix playstyle, but it looks like it's going more towards what Alomaris was doing, except doing it better, because Alomaris let you special back things that were removed by your trap holes, but this is really cool in that it not only attaches them, which doesn't look like it targets or anything, and because it goes to the grave or gets banished, so they can't I mean, I guess they can't DD Crow their own stuff anyway, but they can't remove their own thing from grave that you're going to be taking with this. But the protection is really cool because it'll help against a lot of mono-type decks, like Sword Soul is one of the main examples that come to mind, or any of the archetypes like it. And not to mention that this will trigger off of things like Torrential Tribute and not Compulse, but basically things that you're typically going to be using as mass removal. Because not a win or anything like that, it also triggers off of Solemn Strike, it triggers off of Traptrix Trap Hole Nightmare, and it says card effect period, not by trap effect, so you can actually just attach off of just anything. So you can use something like, sorry, I'm trying to think of specific examples here. If you played Access Code, you could use something like Access Code there, Nightmare Cerberus. That is very interesting. Like I said, it's a bit different compared to the actual playstyle of the deck usually. but it's pretty cool, actually. I like that it gets protection and everything. I also do like just the nice little searching here. I mean, you got Mantis, but I mean, you're not always gonna have Mantis. So yeah, not too shabby, not too shabby. So next up, we have Traptrix Arachnocampa. This is the new main deck monster. It's a level 4 Earth Insect with 1300 attack and 1500 defense. I believe in order we've been getting Plant, Insect, unless Genelicio is before Vesiculo. I don't remember, but this one says you can only use the first effect of this card's name once per turn. It says during the main phase, if you control a Traptrix monster, quick effect, you can special summon this card from your hand. Also, you cannot special summon monsters from the extra deck for the rest of this turn, except insect and plant monsters. It is unaffected by the effects of whole normal traps, and the first time each set card in your spell and trap zone will be destroyed by a card effect each turn, it is not destroyed. Thank you, Konami. I was just saying how we needed protection, and while this isn't permanent protection, this is nice. This will protect you from a Harpies. Granted, this won't let you go into like Gallant Granite or things like that, but I think it's probably going to be a bit more like Pingu focused. Like, I'm just going to call her Pingu. Now that you can like kind of sit on that. But this literally does exactly what I was looking for, except, you know, a little bit weaker. But I mean, hey, this is free extension. And then also you can summon this off of Sarah, right? If you have another way to trigger Sarah's other effect, or if you just don't need to, you can summon this from deck and then have your protection live without locking you into into your extra deck only summoning insect and plant monsters. This is also a very nice card for the archetype. So next up we have Delusion Trap Hole. Look at that artwork. That is sick, dude. Is that... I think that's a Mantis up there. And one sec, let me look. What is Pingu? I think it's Pingu and then like Mantis. Yeah, there's Mantis up with her because that's an Orchid Mantis. But this says you can only activate one card with this card's name per turn. If your opponent special summoned a monster this turn, target a monster they control with 2,000 or more attack, then destroy it, and then if you have a whole normal trap in your graveyard, you can banish one monster from your opponent's graveyard. I think this is a very interesting take on trap holes. So it does essentially the same as other trap holes in that it just removes a monster from the board, and it also does basically the same thing as Void Trap Hole with 2,000 or more attack. But it says you can use it at basically any point. It is not like a reactive trap. You can just use it whenever you feel like it, as long as they special summoned anything this turn. That's really good because this is a non-targeting banish for things in their graveyard. This is essentially a pop and a DD Crow, because you're almost always going to have a whole normal trap. Like, you know, if you're using like Traptrix Trap Hole Nightmare, Floodgate Trap Hole, the few people that still play the one bottomless just for fun. I think that it is a little annoying that you can only activate one of it per turn, but this is definitely a card that I'm going to be playing in Traptrix for sure. So for the final card of at least this wave of Traptrix support, we have Traptrix Atypus. This is a Link 3 Earth Insect Link effect monster. I thought it was a Link 2 at first, with 1800 attack, and it has middle left, middle right, and bottom center arrows. It requires 2 or more monsters, including a plant or insect monster. This Link Summon card is unaffected by trap effects. Traptrix monsters you control gain 1,000 attack while you have a normal trap in your graveyard. That'll put her at 2,800, that's hilarious. And then once per turn, you can target face-up cards your opponent controls up to the number of insect and plant monsters you control, negate their effects until the end of this turn, then you can banish a normal trap from your graveyard, and if you do, destroy one of the targeted cards. So this actually fills the entire role of what I was saying for them needing more damage. So this is, obviously it's unaffected by everything. It gives all of your Traptrix monsters, all of them, including your main deck ones and Pingu, which will put Pingu up at like 3,500. They all get that 1,000 attack as long as you have any normal trap in your graveyard. And then, granted, this is slow, so it's not as strong, but it's a literal just imperm for multiple things. You know, probably like up to 2 or 3 free, like a usual M board at least, but that also lets you get a free non-targeting pop just from banishing a normal trap from your graveyard. Sorry if you can see this bug, by the way. I mean, I guess I know I'm talking about insects, but like that does not give this gnat an invitation to interrupt my video. But yeah, I think this being a Link 3 is going to make it a little annoying at times to get out, but it's kind of like an alternative access code for the archetype, because access code wasn't really a strong card to put in the deck, particularly because you're not going to be like a link spamming or anything. So let's at least get them a little bit of extra firepower, because this is automatically going to be 2,800 on summon if you have any normal trap in your graveyard. So you can at least get like a good amount of damage on board. Probably going to be like the 2,800 from this, and then like maybe the Pingu as well. This also at least finally lets you get a good target to summon off of Sarah. This would be a lot easier to summon, not gonna lie, if Killaria let you summon at any point instead of just summoning Engrave. I feel like that was the major downside of Killaria. I do not like Killaria very much at all, but I do like that this helps the archetype get a little bit more OTK potential. Well guys, that is it for at least this wave of Traptrix support. Again, I do think that we're probably going to be getting more from this structure. Again, I do not think 4 cards is normal for support for a structure deck, or maybe I'm just stupid, or maybe they do that sometimes but not all the time. And then again, we do have the chance for Photon Hypernova to probably also give us a little bit of things, at least generic wise, if not like Traptrix as a whole. But what do I think about this support? Guys, I really like this support. It is like, some of these cards are a bit like niche, they're a bit specific. I know I did say that they are covering the things that I wanted, but it's kind of like they're there to cover the things that I wanted and nothing else. I kind of like the idea that Pingu is going for here, being not only just a pretty large monster overall, but also giving you not only trap protection, but protection from any monster's activated effects with the same type as a material she has, while also being able to non-target attach things from your opponent's grave or banish as material, which can be triggered on either turn. And I also do like that it gives you just a little bit of that extra like consistency boost and follow-up by adding a Traptrix monster, which is really good for adding things like Arachnocampa. I just realized that this is kind of insane for going for extra extension, because instead of going into like your Rafflesia, your Gallant Granite, or anything like that, you can use the Pingu's effect to detach to add a Traptrix from deck to hand, adding the Arachnocampa. Sorry, I'm kind of like stuttering, I'm just super excited. You can add the Arachnocampa and then special the Arachnocampa and get that free extra body on board to protect your stuff. Speaking of which, I do love the protection on Arachnocampa. Again, I was literally asking for this exact kind of protection. Being able to protect all of your set cards in your back row from being destroyed is really nice, and it does like promote non-floodgate stuff because it says set card, not just cards in your back row period. That'd be annoying for things like Anti-Spell or even Mystic Mine. I think Delusion Trap Hole is a bit weighted down by the hard ones per turn restriction, but I do love that it is not a reactive trap hole like a lot of the other trap holes, and it lets you just do something freely at the price of your opponent doing something that a normal trap hole would hit. And then I think Atipus is really cool for helping you push for game, as well as getting that little bit of extra removal and negation on board. But yeah, if these are the only cards we are going to be getting, I don't think that Traptrix is going to still see that top like meta contention. I think this can help the deck be pushed a little bit more towards the rogue category, especially with the protection and such, because games 2 and 3 are just a nightmare for Traptrix, or just losing the die roll. But I don't know, that's just my opinion. Let me know yours down in the comments below, because that's going to do it for the video. If you liked it, please sure to leave a like, as helps put this video and the channel into YouTube recommended. And if you like this content and you want to see more like it, like the rest of my review series, I try to review everything that comes out, except for the stuff that comes out like at 4 a.m. Because I'm really not like, I make these videos not because for the free views. I mean, I kind of make it for the free views, because if you get these videos out before anyone else, except for like M. Cole because he's too fast, then you get like mad views, especially this one's probably going to be like huge. But I also try to do it for the people that don't really check Twitter or any other social medias like that, and so they like usually use YouTube as their main source of information, except for just finding out the stuff, period. So I don't know, I feel like by the time that I make a video on it like 5, 6, 7 hours after it like drops at like 4 a.m. I feel like everyone else has already covered it. I don't think people really care about my particular reaction. They just want to see the cards and go. But if you feel otherwise, let me know down in the comments, because I feel as though some people might want to see my exact reaction, especially for something like Traptrix, which is so important to the channel. Just be sure to let me know down in the comments if you'd like to see that, even if it is like several hours late. I would probably like I wouldn't mind making a new video on the stuff that drops at that time. But yeah, then perhaps consider subscribing, because we're on our way to 2,000 subscribers. We are like 2 away right now, I think, as of this video being recorded. So we are super close to getting there by the end of 2022. It also supports the channel more than anything else, and it is absolutely free. It'll cost you nothing to support the channel directly. But once again, thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. This is Aurora, signing off.